How to not hate your own artwork and animation. You can expect a special difficulty when you're close to finishing an animation project. That's typically when these doubts creep in, when you get this sort of difficulty pulling the trigger on uploading something or sharing it because you've stared at this project for so long, you can see all the flaws in it, and you're thinking, oh, I don't know if this is really worth uploading. A trap that people fall into is they say to themselves, I'll never be as good as that artist, or I'll never be as good at animating as this animator. Nobody cares if you match up to your hero or not. What they care about is that you're out here trying to make animations for their enjoyment. You know, if you're entertaining people and contributing something, that's the important thing. And I think a better way to think about this is tracking something objective. Objective output doesn't solve everything, but it does give you a much better thing to work towards. I'm going to try and shift your perspective to what I call objective positive thinking. This is something that I use. These are mantras I personally have benefited from. They've really helped me in times of doubt. And you can try using these when the time comes to share your artwork, but you're feeling uncertain about what you've made. Okay, so here we go. These are the mantras you can use. Even if my film is not perfect, it has the potential to entertain or inform whoever watches it for the 5-minute duration. It represents how I feel. It's good to have a dialogue and share with others how we feel. Over time, as I improve, this project will no longer represent my ability level. But that's okay. I was never trying to make something perfect. I was trying to create a representation of my highest standard at this exact point in time. It's like a visual diary of my experiences and imagination that I am choosing to share with whoever is curious enough to look. Animations aren't perfect because the humans who make them aren't perfect. Therefore, the goal is not to be perfect, but to contribute something of significance. I'm not going to let all of that work that I did be a waste of time. Regardless of how I feel about it now, I'm going to get a return on my time investment by finishing and publishing my animation. The people who might dislike my animation do not share the same tastes and passions and values as me. They are simply incompatible. Their dislike does not subtract from the other people's likes. Even if it's not the best story, it's my story, and that's a story worth sharing. So those are my mantras. I love these mantras, I use them, they are very helpful to me. And statements like these can help you to understand the objective, positive value of your work and give you that resolve to push it over the finish line. I'm going to end this video with an epic anecdote from one of my big inspirations in animation. But before I do, I just want to interject and say that I recalled this story from memory, and since then I have not found any actual accounts of this being said. I do not trust my memory on this, so let's just treat this as my own mental fan fiction and not actual reality, a real account. I could have misremembered this story. I could have got this story mixed up with a different story. I could have even dreamed this, but I still think it's worth saying, so I'm going to leave it in. So sit back, listen to this story. He sat on the window seat of a commercial flight, staring out the window, looking out at the clouds. And as he listened to his music through his headphones, his mind wandered and he started drawing. On that long flight, he captured in drawings what he imagined could become a beautiful piece of animation. This sketched out animation concept became a labor of love, with production lasting over a year. As I recall, he admitted that he showed the finished animation, or the almost finished animation, to a friend when the film was close to completion. Now, he hadn't shown anyone else the film at this point, and he asked his friend, he just said, well, what do you think? Now you've seen it, what do you think? After a long pause, the friend said, I hate it. And the friend went on to provide a long list of reasons why he didn't like the film. It's not cinematic, there's no dialogue, the characters don't have facial expressions, the music doesn't fit the actions of the characters, blah, blah, blah. He said, if it were me, I wouldn't release this. And Ryan was devastated by the feedback, so devastated that he stored the film away and did not show anyone this film. And the animation gathered dust until one day, by chance, another one of his close friends watched the animation. And the friend was absolutely spellbound by the gestural figures dancing in a minimal sketchbook style. Through dance, the figures progressed through a whole story of love, devotion, and loss. The second friend begged Ryan to share it. He said, please put this out in the world. It needs to be seen by people. And this time Ryan decided to at least put it out on the internet. So he uploaded it to the internet. Now the name of this film is Thought of You. It became a viral sensation on YouTube, and it was praised pretty much universally for its unique, innovative storytelling, choreography, and beautiful craftsmanship. It's a milestone in animated short films. It led to masses of commercial opportunities for Ryan. It put Ryan out there as a solo film creator. Before that, he had just been behind the scenes working as a storyboard artist and effects animation artist on many major films. And it influenced a new generation of animation filmmakers, including myself. So what lessons can we learn from this? Well, I'd say first, trust in the inspiration you first felt when thinking up a concept. Don't trust that critical view you've formed of your animation on the 200th or 2000th viewing of your own film, because it's not going to have that same level of excitement. And also be careful and selectful of the people you keep in your company. Spend more time with caring, supportive, creative people who are able to see the potential in unfinished projects. Some people prefer a very militant environment for their art, kind of like a boot camp where their artwork is kind of torn to pieces in front of them, and they like that approach, that sort of tough love approach. I think a nurturing environment is especially good for early stage animators. And from there, some animators like to go on to that militant style. I'm still not a very militant style teacher or student. I don't think it's necessary personally, but it depends on your personality type, I suppose. But for those critical voices, the important thing is that they get it. Do they get it? The first friend in the anecdote just didn't get it. And that would have been fine if he or she had just said, I don't get it. But instead, he or she just kept on listing those so-called negative aspects of the film and persuaded Ryan to not release the film. This friend who just didn't get it never realized the objective contribution this film would make to the world of animation, despite not personally being aligned with the film. So if a student comes to me and they show me a type of animation that's not my style at all, maybe it's like a really cute animation with little baby-like characters, right? That's not a film that I would personally make, most likely. It's just not my style. But I can still see that there's a market for that out there of people who are not me. And I would try to encourage that filmmaker to finish that film despite it not being my kind of film. And so those are the kind of people you should keep in your company, I think, are people who can make that distinction. If they get your concept and they're still able to be critical, that's fantastic. So the last lesson learned here is that you can take advice from people, but the main person whose opinion matters the most of all is you. Specifically, the you on the first day of this project, who was so excited to make the project a reality. And I hope that resonates with some of you. See you in the next video.